our circadian rhythms adjust to the change in sunrise and sunset and sun and 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 sunsets and sunset times. Mic check. Well, this is literally a mic check. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So happy to be back. I hope everyone is doing absolutely well, fantastically well. I hope you're managing to look after yourself. I know the global news are quite heavy at the moment. So I hope you're doing the best you can in your environment, in your community, in your life, to make sure there is still positivity in this life. We have to try. It's so important. So important. As you can see, your girl has invested in a mic. I actually bought it a long time ago. But I'm gonna use it today. I have to because I am having a migraine episode. So I really have to manage my voice. And I'm literally just starting to get better. So I feel like now is a good moment to make this video now that I feel better. And on the topic of health today, I'm going to talk about the importance of sleeping and having good sleep.
The other big thing for me is sleeping. I love sleeping and I need sleep.
So the book I'm going to talk about is here. Bear a second with me. It is called The Circadian Code by Dr. Satchin Panda. So today is going to be a book review slash a book discussion about the benefits of sleep, the importance of sleep, and how important it is to ensure we have healthy sleeping habits, and of course how important it is not only to have them but to maintain them. I'm really gonna have to find a way to organize myself. Maybe I don't know. Maybe here. So, well, listen, I'm not serious. Not to brag, but I have so many books on the topic of sleep because I'm passionate about sleeping. No, I'm joking. That's because I've struggled with sleeping a lot in my life. I have Why We Sleep from Matthew Walker. I have the Sleep Book by Dr. Guy Meadows. The Power of When from Michael Bruce, and obviously the book I'm talking about today, which is The Circadian Code. So it's a very good thing that I've been able to read all these books, and because I do have a more global vision of the importance of sleep, and I've been able to recognize and to absorb healthy habits and patterns or information that is repeated across these 4 books. For today, I'm going to focus on this one, The Circadian Code. It was a good read. It was really a positive read because it was really accessible. The language was clear. A lot of scientific terms are used because the author is a doctor, but it is made really accessible. So I really enjoyed it. The idea of making important information regarding health accessible to a large public, especially when we talk about vital aspects of health, such as sleeping habits, eating habits, how to keep our body fit, how to protect our mental health, and so on. Let's dive into the book now. So this book is about the Circadian Code. You're gonna ask me, what is the Circadian Code?
The word Circadian comes from Latin. Circa means around or about, and diem means day. Circadian is a term used to describe the processes in animals and plants that happen naturally during a 24-hour period. This is a definition from the Cambridge Dictionary.
So this refers to us. Our bodies have a timetable. There's a moment where we need to sleep. There are moments where we need to be active. And there are moments where, let's say, our digestive system works best. So this is what is implied here. The author really explains the term in detail, but there is a moment for us to sleep, and it's at night. So, well, that's probably obvious information for most people, but you wouldn't believe some people don't sleep at night, and some people by choice, and some people because they are shift worker, they have to work at night. I read this book because I did struggle with my sleep, and in my context, I is in the cloud of traumatic experiences. I read this book because I've struggled with my sleep for years, and I really like the fact that this book acknowledged the fact that there is a link between chronic illnesses, traumatic experiences, and sleep issues. It's like a vicious cycle. But to go back to the Circadian Code, there is a time for everything. Okay. For me, honestly, this book was really a joy to read. It was really a pleasure to read and to get new information. I love to learn new things because I'm always curious. Now, science is a really dynamic field. Knowledge is constantly evolving. Scientists are always trying to know more about the human bodies, for instance. Let's go to what I've learned in the book because I've learned a lot of things. Regarding our body timetable, it's very important to respect the natural rhythm, the natural needs of our bodies. So we have different needs. But let's say your body tells you that you need to sleep by 11 p.m. If you're constantly pushing this limit of 11 p.m., you go to bed at, I don't know, midnight, 1 a.m. consistently when your body is telling you 11 is the time where I need to rest, your body's not going to be happy, and you might create dysregulation. So we need to be in tune with our body clock. Of course, our bodies are fantastic, marvelous, miracles. So our bodies can adapt. They have these wonderful abilities to adapt to challenges, but we cannot push it to the limit all the time. So yes, our bodies can adapt to a certain point, but if we keep on pushing the limits, not good. So when you don't really respect your body natural clock, it can lead to dysregulation, and dysregulation obviously is not good because it can create a cascade of issues. So if we zoom in on the tiny cells, it can create cellular dysfunction. And if we zoom out, if you look at the bigger picture, you can have issues in terms of attention span, irritability, mood swings. So it's very important to listen to your body when your body tells you it needs to sleep, it needs a break. The author says that circadian dysregulation can lead to things such as chronic inflammation. It can also weaken our immune system, and it also really impacts cellular regeneration. If you're consistently in a sleep debt, or if you have persistent lack of sleep, this might impact how your cells are repairing themselves. Now, obviously, the book is not here to scare us, but it's here to bring awareness, to help us create change, to help us develop healthy habits around sleeping. And we have a lot of good advice in this book. So first, the author talks about sleep, like what is sleep. So the author spends some time explaining to us what does sleep consist in, the different phases of sleep. So I'm not going to go into details because I'm not a scientist, but you'll have everything in this book. But I really appreciated the fact that the author does emphasize the fact that for women, sleep needs, if that's a term, our needs are a little bit different, simply because of the expectations placed on women, but also for women who have newborns, sleep can be affected. But also on a bigger picture, women go through hormonal changes during a month, during their lives, whether they give birth or not. And recently, research has shown that women actually need more sleep than men. So I really like the fact that it was mentioned. I wish a full chapter was dedicated to it, because it is quite important to discuss the impact of these hormonal changes on our sleep and how it might impact our needs as far as sleeping and regeneration are concerned. So, this is the part about sleep. What else did I learn about sleep? Well, obviously, when you um, when you don't sleep enough, you do feel crappy. You do feel crappy. You're irritable. It's not just in the head. It is true. It's your body response. It means that something is happening in your body. Your body is telling you, I don't feel good. You did not give me enough time to rest, to repair, and to regenerate. So today we are not happy. So that's what the body is telling you. So lack of sleep is going to impact your not only your mood but also your attention span, your memory, your social skills, and also your decision making. Okay, because when you're sleepy, you are more prone to make bad decisions and to be impulsive. I'm going to read a few passages that I found really interesting. Page 49. It will come as no surprise that sleep deprived people are more unpleasant, even hostile in their social interactions than those who get adequate sleep. For instance, a 2011 study showed that positive emotions decrease and negative emotions increase in response to sleep deprivation, particularly in adolescents. Okay, so no surprise. There's another passage, I think it's page 79, and I've read that in other books as well, in other studies. It comes up a lot, the fact that page 79, when you're sleep deprived, your performance is worse than somebody who has had 2 alcoholic drinks. That's not the first time that I read that there's a correlation between lack of sleep and the feeling of, when you're drunk, the feeling of drunkenness. Don't ask me, I don't drink alcohol, I don't know how it feels to be drunk, but knowing that if I don't sleep well, I will perform like someone who has been drinking and who might feel a bit tipsy or drunk. It is, it kind of like wakes you up a little bit. The author goes on to explain that there is definitely a link between lack of sleep and chronic illnesses. And in this regard, I definitely think that there should be some type of legislation, some type of legal protection for shift worker, for people who have to stay up at night to work. If we know that there is a definite link between health issues and lack of sleep, definitely there should be some type of legal protection. Maybe there is already, and that leads us to sleep debt, because sleep debt is likely to happen if you don't sleep enough. Okay, you get into sleep debt. So what is sleep debt? Page 72 is quite obvious because it's quite self-explanatory. It's very funny because now that I have a mic, you're going to have all you're gonna have my accent in high definition, my pronunciation mistakes in high definition, but I take it as a challenge. We live and learn. One day I'll have perfect English. So sleep depth. Okay. Sleep depth is the difference between the amount of sleep you should be getting and the amount you actually get. So a good way to know the amount of sleep you need is to wait for a day. I think, once again, I'm not a doctor, but I'm going to tell you what I did. Wait for a day when you don't work, you don't have to wake up early, and you can afford not to set an alarm. And I prefer to do this when I've been sleeping well consistently for the previous 2 to 3 days. So take a day you don't work, go to bed. When your body is telling you, I need to go to bed, go to bed. So you drop everything, you go take a shower, brush your teeth, and you go to bed. no alarm, and wake up naturally. Do this for 2 days if you can, or do this every weekend, every time you have a chance, do it. And you will, I think you will notice a pattern. You will notice that there is a number of hours that you need. There's an optimal number of hours where when you go to bed, when your body is giving you the signs and you wake up, naturally you will feel refreshed. So you should be able to get a number. I've been able to get my number, but I'm not going to share because it's private. I've been able to get my number of hours that I need this way. So sleep debt is very important to make sure you don't stay in an overdraft when we talk about sleep, because by now we know how important sleep is. But the good news is that taking naps is a way to pay off your debt. And if you know me, I'm a real nap queen. I nap. I do take naps. So this is a good news. This is a good news, and this is something you may want to keep in mind, especially if you're a shift worker. Nap as much as you can. But once again, there is a healthy way to nap. I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not a professional in this area. I'm a professional napper, that's a fact. I know how to take a good nap, but I'm also reading that there is a way to take a nap. You cannot take a nap that is too long, it cannot be too short. There needs to be a sweet spot, there needs to be a specific number of minutes. If you go overboard, it can like dysregulate or mess up your sleep cycle. So yeah, with the naps, there is also, once again, there is some balance. Yeah, there is some balance to observe. I'm not going to share my nap life and my nap experiences because, as I told you, my sleep is not great because of my insomnias. But it's good to know that you can pay off your sleep debt. So yeah. Now, how do you know you sleep well? How do you know you don't sleep well? That's going to be page 10. The author is really, really pedagogical about it all. That's page 10. In the morning, being in good health means waking up feeling rested and refreshed from having a good night's sleep. That's page 11. In the evening, being in good health means winding down, feeling tired, and falling into a deep sleep without much effort. So this is the ideal picture. Okay, going to bed when you feel tired and falling asleep quickly, and waking up refreshed because you've been able to get enough hours. That's the perfect picture. Unfortunately, it's a struggle for many people in different situations, but we can get there. We're gonna get there, and we do have books to help us get there. Um, I was about to say, yeah, the main issues with sleeping discussed in the book are: one, people who struggle to fall asleep. Most of the time is due to illnesses or chronic illnesses, stress, anxiety, sometimes external things like noise, light, um, maybe it's too hot, maybe your mattress is of poor quality. Um, so that's one aspect that the author discusses. And on the other hand, we have people who struggle to stay asleep. So most time it can be due, once again, to illnesses. It can be due to poor breathing, people who are snoring, who have sleep apnea, sorry, but sleep, the word sleep, and then apnea. APNEA. I know how to say it in French, l'apnée du sommeil. I think it's sleep apnea in English, and I'm making my video in English because the book is in English. And I also live in an English-speaking country, and I try to improve my English. That's in case you're wondering, why is she not making her video in French if French is her first language, and she's obviously fluent in French. That's because I read my books in English. So because I read them in English, I think about them in English, and that's my life. I do what I want to do. Let's go back to the book. So these are the two cases discussed by the author, and the author gives us a lot of advice to make sure we are able to fall asleep But in terms of sleep, let's see if I said everything I had to say. Yes, there's a U curve. There's a U curve. In general, too little hours every night is not good. And on the other hand, too many hours every night is not good either. There should be balance. I mean, like everything in life. Another thing that I've learned is the fact that our body naturally is in sync with nature and the sun. I don't know if it's a big news for you. It's not really a big news for me, but in case people didn't know, and for people who live in cities who have lost touch with nature, this is your reminder. You know, we live in a world where we tend to lose touch with nature. We tend to see our bodies as machines, but our bodies are in tune with nature, with the sun, and this is real. I've noticed that because I went camping last year, and I've noticed that I would wake up naturally every time. That's for me. Maybe my sleep is too sensitive, but as soon as the sun rises, I wake up naturally. I feel refreshed. And as soon as the sun goes down, I feel like, okay, it's time to go to sleep. Like, I feel like my cycle depends on the sun. So I've experienced it. Let me know if it's the same for you. I'd love to know. Because naturally, like for instance, like in summer, the sun rises very early, and I would wake up very early. Like when the sun is rising, I would wake up and feel like, okay, let's go. It's just 5 a.m., 6 a.m. I'd be like, okay, let's go. Although I would not naturally wake up at 5 a.m. and feel like I want to start my day. But I've lived that this is real. This is this is real. Same for when I sleep with the window open and I don't have any blinds on, which is interesting because in the UK I've noticed houses don't really have blinds, but we do have blinds in most houses in France. So when I'm in the UK and I sleep, and I sometimes I like to keep my window open when it's summer and it's very warm. And same, if I keep my window open, I don't put my curtains and I have no blinds, the minute the sun is passing by the window, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be ready to start my day. So I know this is real. And this is page 21. As seasons change and day length changes, our circadian rhythms adjust to the change in sunrise and sunset times. For a long time, we did not have a clear idea of how the circadian rhythm resets to new timing of sunrise or sunsets, or how circadian rhythm are influenced by light. Well, once again, I'm not a professional, I'm not a scientist, but in my personal experience, I'm clearly influenced by the sunlight. Okay, maybe it's because I'm a flower. I'm a little sunflower. I'm a little rose. Okay, so that's about sleep. These are the key things mentioned about sleep. Much more in the book, but I'm just summarizing. In terms of light, before I move on to the other topics, in terms of light, something that I've learned, it's about blue light management. It's quite good because now technology has adapted in our devices. We do have the option to reduce the light and to go into night mode, which reduces a little bit the harmful effects of these lights at night. But the author does say that when it's nighttime, it's better to have a dim light, which is like quite obvious, but sometimes you need to be reminded, you know, it's better to have dim light and also like some type of, orange light. Orange light is better at night, which is good to know because I'm the type of person who likes to have fancy lights at night, like pink, purple. So now I'm gonna focus on orange light. Talking about migraines and my migraine episodes. Which today is quite better today. Today it's on this side, but the pain is manageable. It was horrible 2 days ago, honestly. When I have migraine, I just want to sit down and cry. But now it's getting better. Yeah, regarding migraines, blue filtering eyeglasses seem to be helpful in terms of managing the symptoms. I do have a few pairs of such glasses. It does help, especially when I have to work on my laptop, when I want to read, or simply when I'm outside. The more light protection I have, the better it is, because when you have migraines, you're really sensitive to light, and it helps. And obviously there's a link between migraines and sleeping. I don't know about you, but when I have migraines, it's very hard to sleep. It's hard to fall asleep, it's hard to stay asleep, and sometimes my migraines wake me up. I wake up with migraines. So this is something to keep in mind, paying more attention to light management. If you are someone who suffers from migraine, that might help your sleep quality as well. All right, now solutions regarding sleep, because this book is in 3 parts. I'm going to be absolutely honest and transparent, because I like to be honest and transparent when I make these videos. Personally, when I read the book, I've not been really able to identify what these 3 parts were about, although they do have a title. Each part has a title. But for me, if I could redraft it, I'd give them different titles. The first part, I think, was about explaining what sleep is. The second part is more about advice, more or less, and the last part is definitely about eating habits. But for the first 2 parts, it was a bit blurry to me, because some of the information is repeated. There's a bit of repetition, and I couldn't really see 2 singular parts, 2 distinct parts. But I guess the first part is about explaining what sleep is about, and the second part is about advice, although there is a lot of advice on the first part as well. So that's why it was hard for me to distinguish what was part 1 about and what was part 2 about. Anyways, that's why I'm making the video. I'm breaking down the content based on topics. So I talked about sleep and the information, the important information about sleep that we have. And once again, the author really goes more in depth about sleep, what is sleep, the different phases, the different stages of sleep. But I'm not a professional, so I'm not even going to dare re-explain it. But it's explained in a really nice, simple, clear, well-researched way, and very well articulated. Now I'm going to talk about what I've learned regarding physical activity, because the Dr. Panda says that if you have problems with your sleep, some people like to take sleep medication. The issue is that we don't have enough there's not enough research about sleep medication to know what it causes on the long term if you take it every night. There's not enough research about it. And regarding melatonin supplements, the issue is that, what was the issue? Let me go back to my notes. You see, my notes are color coded, blue for everything related to sleep. Yeah, melatonin has implication on the long term. Okay, personally, I've never taken sleep medication because I feel like my body reacts to the max to medication like this. So I don't take sleep medication, but what I take is magnesium, because magnesium really makes me sleep. It really puts me to sleep. It really I remember the first day I made the mistake of taking magnesium during the day. I really struggled to stay awake. I was literally almost falling asleep. That's how I knew how powerful it was. I was like, I'm going to take it in the evening, like early evening. I take magnesium and it really makes me sleep. It really helps me, provided I don't have a migraine, provided I don't have any type of pain. It really does make me sleep.
Magnesium is a vital mineral that is found in our body, but we also need to include magnesium in our diet in order to support our body function. Magnesium is an essential mineral that supports hundreds of bodily functions. It is present in food such as nuts, seeds, leafy greens, or beans. If you look at the slide here, I have listed some of the health benefits of magnesium. It's a lot. Now you're going to ask me, what is the link with sleep? Well, according to research, magnesium can improve and support your sleep, essentially by calming the nervous system and supporting relaxation. According to the Sleep Foundation, magnesium can help you sleep longer, get better quality sleep, and feel less tired. As a supplement, magnesium is available in different forms, so please make your research and seek medical advice to see which form is more suitable for you. There are specific forms of magnesium that are more easily absorbed by the body, and also different forms of magnesium are going to be more useful to you depending on the benefit you're looking for. So you need to ask your doctor what type of magnesium would be the best for you, especially in the context
I
of
was actually
sleeping.
quite surprised that the author did not mention this option. I don't remember the author mentioning it in the book. If you have read the book and you see that the author has mentioned it and I've skipped it, drop a comment and let me know. Girl, go back to page blah blah blah. The author doesn't mention it. But I've read the book twice and I can't remember any like really specific mention of magnesium. But maybe I skipped it, you know. Nobody's perfect. Maybe I skipped it. Now, physical activity. Besides the fact that it's vital to stay active, you have to stay active by any way possible. It's so good for the body. Physical activity helps you to sleep. I don't know. I mean, for me, it's quite obvious because when when you're active, you get tired. So it's quite obvious. But once again, sometimes things needs to be repeated. So physical activity will help you to get good sleep. You will feel tired. Your body is going to regenerate during the night. And there's a lot of science behind it that I cannot explain, but you will get it in the book. Okay. So if you can during the day, if you struggle with sleep, it's a good thing to try to be more active during the day and to not just be a little bit active. I mean, do what you can, but the more intense your workout is, the easier it will be for you to have a good night's sleep. So try the best you can. It's common knowledge that we have to exercise to remain healthy. Page 140. According to the American Heart Association, anyone healthy enough to exercise needs at least 150 minutes per week of moderate exercise or 75 minutes per week of vigorous exercise or a combination of both. That breaks down to moderate exercise for 30 minutes a day, 5 times a week. So if you can, try to walk. We have a nice list of things we can do to stay fit. As usual, you can see my nice colored book. Is it light enough? Ugh, I don't know, the lighting is poor. Ugh. Once again, I'm getting caught up by real life, and nighttime is here, so the lighting is gone, my natural light, because I work with the sun. The sun is my colleague, and the sun was here to do his job, but now the sun is telling me, girl, bye, it's time for me to go home. This is the end of my shift. So now I'm sitting in the dark, the lighting is not great, but this is good because it forces me to just go straight to the point and summarize what I have to say instead of me being distracted like now and talking about things that are not related to the video. Let me close my computer, my laptop. So what happened is that I had to stop recording because my phone told me the storage was running low. So I had to stop the video. I had to delete. I have so many videos on my phone, previous videos I've recorded that I haven't edited yet, that are sitting on my phone taking up space and storage. So my phone told me no more storage, so I had to fix that. It took me it took me 5-10 minutes. By 5-10 minutes the sun told me, girl, bye, I'm out, nighttime. So I think the lighting is quite good enough. Well, anyways, the focus is not on me, how I look, whatever. It's about the book anyways. So and I might as well keep my laptop here because it provides me with a bit of light. We're gonna do what we can with what we have. And I was talking about exercising, and I'm going to change the topic. I'm going to talk about brain health. There is a strong link between brain health and sleep because when you sleep, that's the moment where your body cleanses itself, your body regenerates, and it's also time for neurological regeneration. So your brain gets to clean itself, do all the cleaning job, consolidating memories, organizing your thoughts, making sure you don't go like with all the new information that you absorb every day. You need to sleep so your brain can work in optimal conditions so you can stay alert. It will help you consolidate new skills, and if you're learning a new language, make sure you sleep well, because all these new words you're learning in your other language, if you sleep well, there's a higher chance it sticks here. Because lack of sleep will impact your working memory, the way you learn things, the way you function every day. If you don't sleep enough, your working memory is not going to be great. You're going to be forgetful, you're going to have brain fog. So you don't want that. You don't want that. Okay. But also, we talked about working memory. Your sleep helps short-term memory being consolidated into long-term memory. Okay, this is what the author says in this book. So that's what we want. We want to have nice memories. We want to remember about nice things happening in our lives. We want to remember about birthdays, names, places, people's favorites, colors, favorite songs, things like this. So if you don't sleep, your memory is going to be impacted. That is something that you might not want. And you probably notice that when you don't sleep well as a habit, you consistently have, as I said, brain fogs, and you get forgetful. I do. When I don't sleep well, I get super forgetful. I have to write down everything. I forget names. I have memory gaps. I mean, this is not good. Look after your sleep. There is always room for improvement. That's why our bodies are amazing. They are a blessing. Our bodies are really, really resilient, but we need to make sure we work with our bodies. We need to make sure we contribute to the optimal functioning of our body the best way we can. Okay, you know what, my lovely peoples? I think I want to get rid of this laptop because holding it distract me. Let me see if it creates a difference without having yeah, I'm gonna keep it. Because I'm talking about brain health, I'm going to talk about mental health. I talked about the correlation between mental health and poor sleep. Dr. Panda says try to avoid stressful situations before you go to bed. Any movie that can be distressing, or any book, that's for me because I read a lot, that you know is heavy in content, avoid it before you go to bed. You don't want to have a surge in stress before you go to bed. Try to cultivate habits that support your mental health. Be surrounded by supportive, loving friends, family. You need to have that place where you have a community and you feel safe and happy with them. Think about stress management techniques and look after yourself the best way possible. I don't think the author expanded a lot on practical things you can do to support your mental health beside this, which is already some advice that we can follow. But yeah, there's a link between sleep, poor sleep, and poor mental health. So this is something we have to be mindful of, and it tends to go into a cycle of a loop. Like you don't have good sleep, your mental health is impacted, and then you have bad sleep because of this, and you carry on. Or you start with mental health issues. Maybe you had a traumatic experience when you were younger, or anything else, anything related to mental health. And because of that, you don't sleep well. And because you don't sleep well, your mental health is not getting better. On top of that, physical health may deteriorate. It's a cycle. So it goes back to what a lot of people realize, that health is really holistic. When we get ill, we have symptoms here and there, but really health is about the big picture. It's really holistic. Like you need to look at your body, your lifestyle, how you think, your past experiences. Have you suffered trauma? You have to look at your environment, your social life. A lot of factors come into play when we talk about health. But then again, I want to say, I mean, it's not in the book, but I want to say, because in order to be able to manage mental health, you need to be able to practice some forms of self-care, like being able to have time for yourself, being able to build a loving, supportive community, be able to eat well, be able to have arrangements in your lifestyle. And I recognize that it is not given to everyone, but really it should be a human right to be able to look after our mental health and to have access to basic tools really to support our mental health. So think about how you can incorporate it in your routine, things that are not always costly. Listen, I'm a bit frustrated because it's obviously fully nighttime and now I have to use my artificial light, which I don't like. I need to buy a new ring light because the one that I had before is broken. But I don't have the time. I need to make my videos because life doesn't wait for anyone, you know. So going back, if you can try to think about ways you can really make sure you can access some form of self-care. If you cannot afford going to the gym, think about walking. On YouTube there's a lot of videos of exercise you can do at home. Try to, as much as you can, switch your environment a little bit. If you need to listen to yourself, spend more time with yourself and make some distance with people who don't really support your mental health or your growth, you're allowed to do this. If you need some time to recenter, try to educate yourself in ways where you can support your well-being, your mental health in an affordable way. Hopefully one day I'll get to make a video about this, about ways you can support your mental health with limited budget, because I know how hard it is if you don't have the tools or if you're not lucky enough to be in the right environment. Because I know how being supported, how being in a supportive environment, how having the resources can make a life-changing difference. So this is something I'm really mindful of. And now I'm going to talk about the final part, which is eating, food, and diet. It is big time related to your sleep. It is. And actually, part 3 of the book for me is really a big focus on the diet and the healthy habits. I read the book twice. I remember the first time I read the book was years ago. I think it was in 2019 or 2020. 2019, I believe. And my focus was sleeping, how to sleep better, how to improve my sleep. And I read it again. I finished it a few days ago. And this time I was more focused on part 3, which was about how to eat. It was really interesting for me because I did notice that I subconsciously changed my eating habits. I tried to eat in a more restricted window, and I promise I did it without looking at specific diets or whatever. I just noticed that I was snacking too much. I was eating, snacking all along the day. I was completely aware it was linked to stress. The more stressed I was, the more I needed to eat, and I was not making healthy choices because I was looking for a quick dopamine fix. I was looking for something quick that could make me feel better because I wasn't feeling good. I was stressed. I was anxious. Food was like a relief. I did not eat because I needed to eat and my body needed some fuel. I was eating as a coping mechanism, and it was not good. And I realized it because obviously I was gaining some weight, but also I realized I was feeling heavier. I was starting to feel bloated, and I realized it was not normal. I also noticed that my migraines were more and more frequent, and I was also starting to have weird symptoms. And I realized I was eating just too much sugar, too much junk food. My body was just telling me stop. So before I go into details about what the author calls time restricted eating, TRE, because my phone is still playing up with me, I had to ask my son to let me borrow his phone so I can finish this video. I wanted to give up. Don't give up. So I'm gonna finish this video today. I'm not even gonna tell you how long I had to wait to try to fix my phone and the storage situation. That's really ironical for me to make a video about sleeping, and now it's nighttime. I need to go to bed early. So I'm gonna finish this video. Let me go back to the topic, which I thought this book was about sleep, but I actually learned so much about eating, and part 3 is dedicated to eating habits. Before part 3, chapter 10 is very interesting because it gives you advice to support your health, such as try to avoid consistent snacking, something I used to do. Try to eat at regular time. If possible, stick to the same timings. It's not easy to do, not possible for everyone. Not always easy, but try to stick to the same time to eat. That's the advice in the book. A big thing I've learned is the fact that eating late at night is not good. You need to avoid as much as you can eating late, especially having heavy meals late, because after a certain time, at night time, your pancreas is not as efficient as it is during the day in terms of production of insulin, and also in terms of production of certain enzymes. There are a lot of studies that are backing this. At night, your pancreas is less efficient in treating the food you eat. So don't overload your pancreas at night, because your pancreas is already naturally struggling. Remember, body clocks. So nighttime is not the time for your pancreas to be active and doing all this craziness. Okay, so you need to work with your pancreas, support your pancreas. This is very interesting news for me. It motivates me more to do the right thing, because I want to be my body's best ally. So, and also nighttime eating is not good as far as fat management, fat storage is concerned. So it is something that needs to be avoided. Now, going back to sleep a little bit, the author says that there is a link, unfortunately, between lack of sleep or poor sleep quality and diabetes or cardiovascular diseases. Once again, it's a bit of a cycle. The author does say that there is a link between late night heavy meals and diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, chronic inflammation. So something to watch out. Page 197, for instance, very important. Diabetes occurs when the pancreas cannot produce enough insulin, or when the cells in the body no longer respond to insulin and absorb glucose from the blood. Now, the issue and the link with poor sleep or lack of sleep is that there is mounting evidence that when your body clock is disrupted, it can lead to diabetes. And from the book, it says, for example, a week of reduced sleep can raise someone's blood glucose to pre-diabetic levels. There is a chart here from a study to illustrate this. There's a link between lack of sleep and the way we digest, the way our body manages the fat we eat and the sugar we eat. Again and again and again. I'm not a scientist at all. I'm talking about this book. It's a discussion about the book I've read and that I really, really, really did enjoy. Something I've learned is that according to research and according to Dr. Panda, it's that when you eat, you are preventing your cells and your body to focus on regeneration, because your body is focused on what you eat, on digesting the food, on breaking down the food, on managing the food intake, managing the nutrients you eat and sorting out everything that's happening here. Okay, your body is busy here. Okay, and if you eat consistently during the day, you don't let your body breathe the way it needs to, the way it should. And so that's something that the doctor explained. When you eat, it slows down what is called autophagy. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing it properly. One day my English will be perfect. Autophagy. So when you eat, your body cannot really focus on autophagy. And what is autophagy? Is basically your cells cleaning themselves, recycling the material within the cells and making sure that the cell is clean, that we got rid of the toxins, that you can recycle things properly, and that your cell can do what it gotta do. Okay. So when you eat, you slow down this process, you slow down the regeneration. So you don't have to eat the whole day. You don't have to eat from morning to evening. Let your body rest and focus on other things than the food. Let your body regenerate. And I assume you can feel that. I mean, if you spend your whole day eating or snacking, I mean, if you do this, if this is your lifestyle, I guess at some point you don't feel great. You might start to feel heavy, you might start to feel a bit sluggish. That's definitely how I feel when I snack the whole day, especially when I snack on unhealthy food like chocolate, sweets, juice, snacks. When I snack the whole day, definitely feel sluggish. And if I do this when I used to do this as a habit, definitely feeling sluggish, having headaches, not sleeping well at night. These things happen, but I've stopped that. I'm a different woman now. I'm not gonna say I'm only snacking on broccolis, carrots, although I do eat carrots now. When I want to eat something sweet and I feel like snacking, I do have carrots, fresh carrots. I mean, I'm trying my best, and I'm sure people are trying their best. And I guess this is what we have to do to support good health. So autophagy is something that I've learned about in the book. Page 207, we're going to use the words of the doctor because he is an expert at this, and I'm just a reader. I'm just someone who read the book, who liked it, and who is trying to tell you why I like the book and what I've learned. So, another cellular activity is autophagy, the controlled digestion of bits and pieces of a cell, which helps to reduce some of the damage from oxidative stress. Cells recycle their stray bits and pieces through autophagy as their internal immune system relocates them and put them in a garbage disposal system, which is called the lysosome. The lysosome contains acids that digest the cellular garbage. So autophagy is more active several hours after our last meal and then slows down when we eat. So when you eat, it slows down autophagy. And then we have time restricted eating is known to increase autophagy for a few hours during the fasting period. Okay, there's a lot of research that has been done on the benefits of fasting in a healthy way, in a controlled, healthy way. It's not good for everyone. I mean, I don't know, but I guess if you want to fast, you really have to speak to your doctor first. But I know that the benefit of fasting for people who can do it have been discussed a lot in science, especially recently. Me personally, as I told you, I used to snack a lot. I realized it didn't do much good to me. I realized it made me feel sluggish, more headaches, made me eat more, made me feel irritable. I just felt it wasn't great for me, and my body was not reacting well to it. I was feeling bloated. I was feeling lack of energy, moody. I just realized it wasn't great, and I was actually starting to get worried about all the headaches, getting weight, and not being active the way I used to, or losing my breath faster than I used to in the past. So I'm not necessarily someone who fasts as a regular basis or whatever, but I definitely try to reduce my eating window now because I realized I just took some time to be more mindful about when I eat and notice when I eat, and the snacking was too much, and it was definitely correlated to stress. So now what I do is I really work on my stress response. I try to, not I try to avoid being stressed by everything and anything. And if I feel that I'm stressed and I need something soothing, I drink a hot drink. I love tea. I've always loved tea. So if I feel I need a snack or something comforting, I just have a cup of tea, because I try to make a shift toward, better eating. I just have it without sugar now. So whenever I feel like I need a snack or something comforting, I just have my cup of tea without sugar. And it really helps. It helps me to stay disciplined. I mean, that works for me. Everyone has their little things, but I know that it helps me stay disciplined in terms of snacking, and I'm much more disciplined regarding my meals. When I have my um, when I eat last during the day. So this is the last part. Part 3 is really the doctor explaining to us the benefits of time restricted eating, so reducing the time window in which you eat during the day. Like that I said before, you don't have to eat from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to bed. Part 3 explain this very clearly. It's backed up by research. I'm not going to say much about it, because the chapters of part 3 are really rich in information, but a lot of benefits from not overloading our stomachs. A lot of benefits. It gives a chance for your body to regenerate. It reduces chronic inflammation. I will let you read, and also I'm mindful of the time. Listen, I'm a new woman now. Try to stick to healthy sleeping pattern. It's not easy when you have we all try. It's not easy when you have, I don't know, if you have two jobs, or if you're a single parent, or if you have newborns, or if you're struggling with illnesses, mental illnesses, or life is lifing, but we really have to try to find balance and to look after ourselves, because when we are healthy with our bodies, healthy with our minds, it's easier to give back and to just bring something to society, to our communities, to help them flourish. It's so much easier to give back when we are in good health. And this is really what I wish to you all, to stay in good health, to educate yourself so you can support your health the best way possible, that you can find the tools to support your health, that you are supported in your healing journey, whether it's healing physically or healing mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I do hope and pray you are supported. Make your research, see what works for you, continue to educate yourself. What works for you might not work for the other person. I mean, be curious about yourself, your needs, but always by staying informed. That's why, make sure you stay in touch, you ask questions. Make sure you ask questions to your doctor. Make sure that whenever you are worried about something, speak to your doctors. They are the experts. If you have doubts, if you need more monitoring, go seek the advice of professionals when you need. Don't wait when it's too late. That's one big thing also that I've learned when I started to educate myself a bit more. That once again, it's quite obvious, but we need to be reminded. Don't wait until your body tells you it's had enough. Okay, to go to the doctor. Try to be gentle with your body, with your thoughts, with your mind, your soul, your spirit, and don't wait for a crisis to happen to make the changes. Try to make doable changes, things you can incorporate into your routine. And also having a healthy routine that supports your health is also a good way to reduce anxiety. I think it's also mentioned here. So yeah, look after yourself, seek advice from health professional whenever you need to. Don't wait for a crisis. If you have concerns, don't hesitate to follow up and to insist. This is important. I think that's all for this video, which took me forever. I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm not gonna have a late night snack. I'm gonna have just water, maybe a hot drink. And also about the tea, that I drink a lot. I drink tea without caffeine. Okay, I really reduce my caffeine intake. So sometimes I would have green tea, but not too much. Yeah, I'm gonna have a hot drink. I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna meditate, and I'm gonna read. Anyways, I think that's all really for today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Leave me a comment if you have read this book. Okay, leave me a comment if you have any tips. Let me know if you have read the book and you want to share something that I've missed, or you want to add something. Anything, leave a comment. I really want this to be an open discussion. So that was my video talking about this book that I read, a quick discussion around a couple of things that I've learned or that I needed to hear again. That's it. Look after yourself. Don't forget to subscribe or to like if you have enjoyed the video in spite of all the little issues. But listen, this is a learning, this is the learning journey. One day my videos will be great. I will remember to put my phone in the right direction. For a reason to a reason to screen, I forget. I will be able to film my videos from start to finish with great natural lighting, with great natural lights. It is just a learning journey, and I'm just having fun making these videos and sharing all these books that I read. I hope you enjoy these videos. Look after yourself, please. Be blessed. Look after yourself. Bye.